Welcome to the Halloween episode of Threepcast.
Hey, Elliott, are you summoning demons again?
No.
Not again.
We talked about this.
Okay.
And in front of all the nice people at home, too.
This is too spoopy.
Too spoopy. I'll put away my magic book with the green smoky thing coming out of it.
The blobby thing.
The blobby thing. Anyway, welcome to Threepcast, episode 8.
Welcome.
Welcome. I'm Elliott.
I'm Anton.
I'm known by many things, but today I'm known as Alex.
And on this Halloween episode of Threepcast, we're going to be talking about the Sierra classic adventure game Phantasmagoria. And we're also going to be covering some adventure game news, catching up on people's lives and such, and other assorted fun things.
All those things.
Or none of those things.
Or none of those things. Goodbye, everybody!
That'd be the best episode.
That'd be the best. Okay, yeah, I'm going back to bed. Anyway, so yeah, how have you guys been for the last month? Who wants to go first?
You go first.
Yeah.
I want to go. I was planning on going last because I have like 3 stories I want to tell.
Well, I like talking about myself, so I'll go first.
Okay, go.
Basically, I have been working on my thesis, which I'm supposed to defend on the 10th, and also trying to work on job applications, but that's kind of frozen. The end. Also, I played some spoopy Halloween game, but whatever.
Phantasmagoria.
Yeah.
Ooh. Cool. Alex, how has your month been?
Well, I'm still in the blizzard. I've equipped myself with many weaponries to combat in the blizzard.
Do you live in an igloo?
Yes.
Alex, how many days till StarCraft 2?
Let's see. Hold on. Let's count it up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can cut this out. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
We'll leave it in.
We leave.
13, 14,
we cut nothing
15 more days until the release of StarCraft 2, Legacy of the
weeks.
Void. But for those at home, it's going to be not the same date, probably. So remember, it's coming out November 10, kids.
Right today. Is that the same? This is the same day as my thesis.
I'll just have to thesis StarCraft 2.
I'll defend my thesis and come home and play StarCraft 2.
Cool. All right. So my month. So I went to see The Martian,
Mm-hmm.
which was cool. The only reason I'm bringing it up on an adventure game podcast is because The Martian is somewhat tangentially related to the topic of adventure games.
Is it like you're watching him solve an adventure game on screen?
That's why it's so boring.
I mean, kind of, but more directly related.
Is Matt Damon in Phantasmagoria?
No. Two text adventure games get brought up in the movie, which really impressed me and surprised me that they went and dug up two actual games to reference.
Oh, was it Hearthstone and
No.
Oh.
No, it's about the middle of the movie. He's going through. Sorry, this is minor spoilers, but not really. You can skip ahead by about a minute. He's going through one of the astronauts' things after he gets stranded on Mars, and he finds he's like going through his stuff, and he finds some text adventure games amongst her belongings. One of them is Zork 2, and the other one is Leather Goddesses of Phobos, which are both Infocom games.
Excellent.
And I was sitting there in the theater laughing, thinking, I recognize both of these games. I wonder how many other people in this theater know both of those titles.
I did. What was the second one again?
Leather Goddesses of Phobos.
I have never heard of this.
We should play it for the podcast.
Oh, next week.
It sounds wholesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, besides that, it was a really good movie. I would highly recommend it, not just for adventure game references. Okay, so that was story number 1. Story number 2 is, I don't want to say the name of the game in case this doesn't pan out, but there's a small chance that I'm going to be doing voiceover work for an adventure game.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, I kind of want to keep it hush-hush in case, like I said, it doesn't pan out.
Keep it on the hush-hush.
Yeah.
Can you give me some rad spoilers?
If you listen to the podcast backwards, then you'll hear.
Yeah,
right there. That's where you listen.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's kind of cool. If it pans out, they liked the first demo that I sent them. They said that the voice sounded good, but we're having some minor microphone issues, and I hadn't heard back from them finally on whether or not I got the part. So if it turns out that I get it, I will update you guys on what this is.
Yes.
So and so story number 3. This kind of bleeds over into the news section, but recently, Day of the Tentacle Special Edition, or I guess now it's called Day of the Tentacle Remastered, was premiered at Indiecade in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And this just so happened to coincide with me taking a 3-day weekend trip out to California to visit Elizabeth at Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of bemoaning the fact that I'd be all the way up in the Bay Area and everybody's going to be seeing Day of the Tentacle Remastered for the first time down in Los Angeles. I'm like, man, it's not fair. And I asked Elizabeth if we could just drive down to Los Angeles. So anyway, I decided, whatever.
Oh.
No, we didn't. So I get on the plane, and for some reason this didn't click in my brain the night before when I was whining about Day of the Tentacle. But I had layover in Los Angeles.
Stop drinking.
And once this clicks in my mind that Day of the Tentacle is now only 20 minutes away from me, I'm thinking to myself, is there any possible way I could reschedule my flight from Los Angeles to San Jose so that I could hang out for a few hours in Los Angeles and play Day of the Tentacle? And the more I thought about it, the more unrealistic it seemed, because I'd have to get a rental car, I'd have to reschedule my flight and pay hundreds of dollars to get a plane ticket at the last second. And then you're trusting, American Airlines that they're not going to mess it up somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So I eventually decided that it wouldn't be worth it. I was this close to playing Day of the Tentacle Remastered among the first human beings to do so. So anyway, I go to San Jose, visit with Elizabeth, and we're kind of talking about Day of the Tentacle and Double Fine and stuff. And so I just casually ask, hey, I wonder how far away Double Fine's office is. And so we go look it up on Google Maps, and incidentally, we were going to go to a Ripley's Believe It or Not museum for the afternoon, which is about 45 minutes north of where we were. And Double Fine offices were on the way.
Oh, gosh.
So we decided, hey, let's do this. So we get in the car.
I have not heard the story.
We go up to San Francisco, and I'm actually surprised. Like, I didn't think that the offices would be just listed on Google, but
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth typed in Double Fine offices into Google Maps, and it came up.
I
And I went
don't
and
mean
looked
to
at one of
interrupt,
your
but I
old.
thought you were going to say that I was surprised how small the offices were.
Well, no. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, it's public knowledge apparently on Google
Mm-hmm.
Maps, which surprised me. I thought that they'd have a PO box or something, and their offices would be hidden. But I went and checked one of their old videos, and it did look like the building matched.
Oh man.
So we drive into San Francisco, and we park, and we go walk down the sidewalk, and we find the office. And then we peek in through the windows on the ground floor, and it looks like it's one of their headquarter conference rooms, but I suspected that it wasn't. It didn't look
Mm-hmm.
double finey enough.
Was
So-
it Tim
It
It didn't have
Schafer's
enough
office?
gold in it. It didn't have enough gold in it, you know.
Yeah, it didn't have enough gold-plated
Psychonauts
whatever.
hats.
Psychonauts
hats, right? So we're like, well, see, I'm still a little unconvinced that we found the right building because
Mhm.
it looks kind of generic, and so we're like, well, let's go. Well, let's go up the. So the actual entrance to the building was up on the second floor. So we're like,
Mhm.
well, let's just go up to the second floor and see if we can see anything through the windows. So we go up there. We go peek in through the glass, and I don't see anything. But then I turn my head to the right, and sure enough, there's this big plaque by the front door on the inside that shows all the businesses that are inside this building. And at the top of the list was Double Fine Productions.
Oh, did you go up and visit them?
No, it was Saturday, so the offices were closed.
Aw.
But we made a little video about it,
Yeah.
and I haven't gotten around to editing it yet. It'll be up on Commander Crunchy
Yeah.
soonish.
This is
Yeah,
excellent.
so that was a lot of fun. We were regretting not being more bold after we left. Like I was joking later that we should have should have written on the glass "Hi Tim," or left a note for him or something.
Uh-huh.
I think if we ever go back, we'll probably try that.
Listen to Threepcast.
Listen to Threepcast.
Get Tim Schafer
hi,
to
Tim
be a
Schafer,
regular
please
listener.
listen to Threepcast.
Let's just get an interview with like whoever runs their front desk.
How's it like?
What's it like being the bouncer of Double Fine? Do you have any adventure
Yeah,
game tips?
I think. Yeah, in the future we might try this on a weekday and
Mhm.
see if we can. Yeah, I got a little nervous when this was happening just because they had all these signs that said the area is under video surveillance and yada
Mhm.
yada yada. So, but yeah, we didn't get in trouble or anything like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
As far as you know.
as far as I know.
Yeah, we could be recording this from like a jail cell.
That's true. I hadn't really thought about
Yeah,
that.
you never know. So yeah, let's talk about some news.
Here's the news. Another action-filled adventure. All the worst from the World Convention.
All right, so here's some news for the month of October. As we mentioned earlier, there is finally tangible evidence that Day of the Tentacle Remastered is a real existent thing. After us coming up with all sorts of little scraps of news for months, we finally have proof.
Yay.
Yay! So, what did you guys think of the way that Day of the Tentacle Remastered looks?
I'll let Anton go first.
Oh well. So I'm happy that the game is being re-released, but I'm not super enthusiastic about the way that it looks actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mostly because it just kind of has a blobby traced over look instead of like an original art look. And then there's some of the backgrounds
Right.
that still you can still see pixels. It's like no, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at least with
See-
the Monkey Island special editions, they redid like all the character art and stuff.
Right.
This just kind of looks like
Yeah.
they ran it through a blobby filter and but didn't make it all the way.
It does kind of look like that kind of pixel interpolation kind of look that some old games have when you try to smooth out the pixels manually.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
I think
guess-
it looks like a tad above that, in my opinion.
Well, yeah.
When you actually look at the details, it actually does look a little bit better than just like a raw
Yeah.
pixel interpolator.
I think so. I guess the screenshot that was bothering me was in the laundry room with Bernard. There's like
one of the
sign
pieces of paper on the
yeah.
wall is still pixely. I noticed that too.
Some of the switches and things on the washing machine also, or the dryer.
Right.
The one underneath that.
Yeah. I think this kind of confirms it that the team that was doing Monkey Island 1 and 2 also did most of the art for this.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, it'll be cool that they refurbished all the sound effects and music and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to hear what the soundtrack sounds like.
Yeah. If they actually re-recorded all, that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
Or if they do
this
the
is
voices
kind
again?
of like
They found the original voice recordings like in high quality,
right.
which is
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool that all that still existed. This is me being the obsessed Day of the Tentacle fan that I am. But if you notice on the screenshots that they released, that because of the dimensions of the original game weren't 16 by 9,
Mm-hmm.
this version actually has a little bit of extra background on the left and right of each screen. So like in Bernard's apartment or by the Sludge-O-Matic, there's actually a little bit of extra space on the screen that didn't exist before.
So is that filled in or is it blank?
Oh yeah, it's extra. I mean, there's nothing really cool on the left or the right, but I mean, it looks a little bit bigger.
that is cool.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's cool. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree about the art that it's not super impressive, but I
Mhm.
mean, on the other hand, it's like they've pretty much exactly preserved the look of the game. I mean, even
Yeah.
though they didn't go in any new directions, it looks pretty much exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. I guess
So, I mean,
I'm
that's-
just
that's
so
a
much of a
good thing.
pixel art fan. I feel like a lot of times when they res it up, it loses a lot of character.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, they're re-releasing the game.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
and I mean, it's gonna look decent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I'm
buy
hyped.
it.
I'll buy it.
You
I
should
am
buy
not.
it too. So wait, are there screenshots or confirmation that Maniac Mansion is in the game, and is it also retouched?
So, I don't remember where I read this because there was like a big flurry of Dave the Tentacle articles on Saturday. One of them said they talked to Tim Schafer and he confirmed that Maniac Mansion would still be there as a game within a game.
That's good.
So,
Either way,
yeah,
they decided to do it.
Probably what they're going to do is they're going to put a little, like old computer screen border around it, and have it still look the same.
Yeah, probably.
that'd be kind of cool.
I mean, because that would make sense just in context of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's Day of the Tentacle. What?
Oh, we're all just saying,
Alex was saying
Uh-huh.
a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So Minecraft story mode came out.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone hated it.
What? No.
Well,
I just saw good reviews.
oh, okay.
I did too.
What sites have you been going to?
I've only seen bad reviews.
Have you been
but
going to Grump
I've only
Games
seen 2
Inc?
reviews.
Oh.
What?
I didn't
What?
specifically go looking for reviews though.
I saw a review on Game Trailers that didn't like it, and a
Oh.
review on... Maybe it wasn't Game Trailers. I can't remember. But it was
I
2
think Games
reviews.
Radar liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it was generally favorable. I haven't really been following it that closely. Just, I mean, it's Telltale,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so you kind of know what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
We will play it in the
Let's
year
see.
2018 when we get through our queue.
Yeah, we'll put it on the queue somewhere.
Somewhere in the distant future.
It looks like Adventure Gamers hasn't reviewed it yet. So I don't know.
I heard there's a cute pig in it, so...
That's good. That makes every
I heard
game
that
better.
it had blocks in it.
I heard it had Blockmans.
No way.
Yahweh.
Cool.
I heard it was great.
All right. Anton, did you have some adventure game news?
I got some news.
Let's hear it.
Well, some games came out, I guess.
Okay, what came
That
out?
was some great news, Anton. Good job.
The one that looks cool is Read Only Memories,
Oh.
which is
What is that about?
an NES-styled cyberpunk adventure game.
Okay, I like how that sounds.
It's set in Neo San Francisco in the year 2064 AD. And I just
Like-
watched the
like all good
trailer, but
cyberpunk
It looks kind
games.
of like Phoenix Wright. You go wander around and you talk to people, have conversations, use items on them. It's cyberpunk. You should play it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer a few weeks ago, and I thought it looked really cool.
The trailer is really cool. It was like 80s style trailer. It had all the
They put a
VHS
VCR
filters.
filter. Yeah, it was a VHS filter on the trailer, and I was kind of wishing that the actual game had that same VHS filter all the way through it.
Mm-hmm.
But it probably doesn't.
Nah, it doesn't. I saw people telling them that in the comments, and they're like, "Oh, we never thought of that." But it looks really
I'd
cool.
play that
I'm
game.
excited to play it as soon as I can get the chance.
When does it? Is it already out?
It is out right now for only $15 of your dollars.
What?
That's a good bargain.
We'll probably get around to it by the actual year 2064.
Exactly. So look forward to that in the year 2064. Cool game. Read-only memories. There's a robot that also appears in Duck Game, I guess. Second bit of
everybody
news,
loves Duck Game.
There's a game named Murder, a short story by Peter Moorhead and Curve Digital, which is also an adventure game that is cyberpunk and also came out this month.
More head, more like
Whoa.
less head.
So, I heard it was only 30 minutes long and not that great, but it's also only $3, and it looks very flavorful. So if you're willing to take the chance on a potentially mediocre game with apparent flavor, then you should check it out, I guess.
Less
Sounds
head.
good.
Only $3. So
How can you go wrong with $3?
you can't.
You can go really wrong with $3.
Like
Think about how many games that you would buy on a Steam sale for $3.
That's like
I
one,
know.
and this isn't even on sale.
You know, I just realized I probably should have mentioned back when we were talking about what I did this week that I beat the entirety of Half-Life 2.
Just,
dang.
just in this
That's-
last week.
It was in a total of like 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
But it's
Cool.
a kind of an adventure game, so maybe. They're puzzles.
There's running around.
Uh-huh.
I mean, some people consider Portal 1 and Portal 2 as adventure games.
Mhm.
Where does
This
it
is
stop?
definitely less of an adventure game than Portal.
Yeah, it's more of a focus on shoot things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, that's the news.
Can we play the news song backwards at the end of the news?
Okay, cool. So we are going to go to a break. Anton, decide for me what the break is going to be. We have two options.
Okay.
We have a 1995 television interview with Roberta Williams talking about the making of Phantasmagoria.
Ooh.
Or we have random audio bites from the Japanese Sega Saturn Phantasmagoria dub
Oh, gosh.
called Phantasm.
There are no good choices here.
I think the interview would be more informative for the listeners.
Okay,
but
so
I can confirm that the Japanese audio is worth looking up because it's pretty great.
Watashi wa Zoltan.
Nani?
It enhances the game quite significantly, even if I couldn't tell what was going on just watching it.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go to a break. Enjoy this interview with Roberta Williams on the making of Phantasmagoria.
Enjoy.
This is Oakhurst, California, right in the middle of redneck cowboy country. The kind of place where if the police catch you speeding, they just take you into a field and say, "Go on, try and get my gun." It's here, in a new multi-million-pound studio that a spank-the-new CD-ROM game is being filmed, Phantasmagoria. The game could prove to be the goriest one of all time, but it all started with a piece of paper and a bloke called Bill. Now these are some of the actual drawings from Phantasmagoria.
Yes, these are the concept sketches. I'll begin concepting an area and let it develop kind of slowly and work with our technical people to make sure that, in fact, this can be constructed and made.
In FMV adventures in the past, some of the acting has been a little bit, how shall I say, cheesy. What are the actors like in Phantasmagoria?
Oh, no, these are very professional people. This is not like other things that you've seen.
Jimmy Hill. Anyway, I headed over to the studio to check it out and found the two lead actors going through their paces. She fancied me immediately, but then her bloke was grumpy.
Don, let's leave. Please. We gotta get out of here. Look what this place is doing to you.
Leave. Leave. This is our home, Adrian.
They begged me to interview them, but I said I'll only do it if I can sit on a picnic blanket. How different was it, like, doing a CD-ROM game acting as opposed to TV and film?
It's quite different.
It's a lot more technical.
Much more technical. We'd be in the middle of the scene and doing something, and they'll go, wait a minute, your arm's in the wall. Which wall is it?
Yeah, I mean, you have to completely use your imagination for everything because you have nothing there but, just the other actor.
Having done it, what do you prefer? Or maybe you shouldn't say it.
Oh, CD-ROM, absolutely. It's hands down.
This was all getting a bit too nicey-nicey for me, so I headed off for some light relief in some toilet somewhere. Now she obviously slaps it on with a trowel, whereas this lady here, this is actually Judy Finnegan without her makeup on. And this girl, actually, she's in two minds about the whole thing. Strangely aroused by what I'd seen, I set off to confront head honcho Roberta Williams, and I asked her if it was big and clever for a bird to make a gruesome game.
I don't think of it as gruesome. It's horror. Horror is a horrible subject. Horror is scary. Horror haunted, like a haunted house. But I really think of it more as a thriller. It's a thriller. It is a scary story. But gruesome isn't a word that I think of in terms of Phantasmagoria.
Right, bollocks to that then. We'll just have to resort to that other mainstay of late night telly instead.
Okay, so we're back. That
was a long interview.
Yeah, it was quite tiresome.
Gosh golly.
I don't think we have any other way of procrastinating about this. It's time to jump in headlong into Phantasmagoria.
Yes.
The 1995 Sierra horror point-and-click adventure game.
Oh, is it Sierra? Did Sierra make this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, they were on the cutting edge. They were trying.
Shh, okay. Let's keep hold back for now. We got to do Wikipedia reading.
Wikipedia. How many seconds do you want?
Do we have a Wikipedia song?
Yes, we do.
We need a Wikipedia theme song.
Can it be like sad music, slow dirge?
And have Phil sing a sad song about why do we have to keep the segment.
That'd be good.
I'm sure Phil would agree to it.
It'd be a good jingle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody put me on 90 seconds.
Okay. And
I'm just gonna I just want to
ready.
preface this by saying my approach here. This Wikipedia article is freaking long. I am going to just jump around to random sentences, and hopefully something interesting will seep through.
Okay. This sounds probably like the best approach. There's a lot to say about it historically. Like, it's a historically important game.
Yeah, we can maybe after we get past the obligatory Wikipedia section, we can talk a little bit about the history of the game.
Okay.
Anywho, are you ready?
Yeah. 3, 2.
Although I'd like to question the viewers at home why a gnome can be a death knight, but
Alex, we were doing the countdown.
Okay, sorry. 5, 2,
4,
go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Phantasmagoria is an interactive movie survival horror point-and-click adventure game released by Sierra Online and designed by Roberta Williams for Windows, MS-DOS, and Macintosh.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Harriet, fearing for her safety, decides to leave Cyrus as Dawn becomes more abusive and erratic. Williams had wanted to make a horror game for 8 years prior to Phantasmagoria and had started to design a few, but none came to fruition. Andy Hoyos was the art director for Phantasmagoria. Phantasmagoria was Sierra's first game to use live actors integrated with computer-generated backgrounds. Phantasmagoria is an interactive movie point-and-click adventure game. Phantasmagoria was the first Sierra Online game script to be written like a film screenplay. The only actor that Siebert chose without Williams' input was Victoria Morsel as the protagonist, Adrienne Delaney. Morsel found it challenging to film a scene near the end of the game.
Spoilers.
25 professional actors were cast at Phantasmagoria.
25!
Despite coming out in August, Phantasmagoria finished 1995 as the 9th best-selling game of the year, according to an analysis by PC Data of sales by 42 retail chains. Phantasmagoria won the Golden Triad Award from Computer Game Review and an Editor's Choice Award from PC Gamer. GameSpot writer Jeff Sengstack said the expensive budget and long production history do not necessarily translate into high-quality gaming. Williams returned to work on the King's Quest series after Phantasmagoria was completed. Okay. That was kind of fun.
It's a bestseller. That's so depressing.
Yeah, well, everyone bought it because it was controversial.
Was it?
Right.
Yeah.
So Anton already knows this number, but Alex, do you want to guess how much money it cost them to make this game?
Let me think. Hold on. Let's see. This is back. When did this game come out?
This is $90, 1995.
Okay.
The original budget for the game was $800,000.
Okay.
How much do you think it actually cost?
$2 million.
It cost $4.5 million to develop the game. $1.5 million were spent on the blue screen studio that Sierra built for this.
Did they get any other use out of it?
That is a good question. I mean, I'm assuming they used it for Phantasmagoria 2.
Oh yeah.
Is there a sequel?
There is a
sequel. It's not related.
Yeah.
We have to play it next.
Well,
next Halloween.
Sierra wanted to make Phantasmagoria into an anthology series so that each game had a totally different story, totally different characters, same offensiveness. But they only ever made 2, so yeah, but it made $12 million, so I guess they made their money back.
I read somewhere that it was the whole reason they made the game was just because Roberta Williams was tired of making family-friendly games. She wanted to make a horror game to flex her narrative muscle or something like that.
Yes.
Clears the throat.
Best podcast.
Coughcast.
Cough.
Yeah, there's a ton of really interesting stuff on this Wikipedia article, so I would recommend that you go read it.
Bring the Wikipedia out of the podcast and into your life.
Here's your homework for Threepcast. Go read the Wikipedia article for Phantasmagoria.
For the viewers at home, explain why Phantasmagoria, why it's different than usual games.
Well, so Phantasmagoria came out sort of at the height of the FMV craze in the mid-90s when the CD-ROM had just been invented and people suddenly figured out that they could do full-motion video in their games. And so everybody went kind of video crazy and started putting video in everything. And so Phantasmagoria is one of those games where it's like almost all video. You're just watching a bunch of cutscenes that are strung together. A little bit of gameplay thrown in. So it's a little bit different than the average Sierra game because it puts a lot of emphasis on cutscenes and story over going around collecting items and solving puzzles.
I was actually really impressed with it technologically. Just because most FMV games, they have like the gameplay and then you click things and then a video plays and it's uninteractive. But this game integrated like the movie clips with the actual gameplay like quite a bit better. At least toward the end. So it's like they would actually have movies playing while you're clicking on things instead of it just being totally separate gameplay movie chunks.
How good did it look? Was it pixely?
So it looked pretty terrible in the screenshots, but I found that I didn't really notice it that much when I was playing it.
So it looks terrible, but you forget how terrible it looks.
Yeah, well, at least for me, I thought it was passable. Like once I got into it.
What bugged me was when you first turn on the game, it has all the graphics settings turned down as low as possible. So like the full motion video cutscenes only take up like half the screen, and they're like tiny. But you can actually go in and adjust the settings and make it look a lot better.
Yeah.
So they should have had that set by default, but whatever. I guess I don't know if that was just the way the game was programmed, since they assumed people's computers wouldn't be able to run it.
And it was cutting edge at the time. There were reviews that were like, I can see this being the future of gaming technology. Because this was back when adventure games were also considered like the front runners for like pushing game technology.
Right.
And like game storytelling and all that before it got overtaken with FPSs.
Right. Yeah, one of the things that they pulled off, which I was really impressed with, like, I mean, all the blue screen stuff was pretty impressive, like how, they did a good job of cleaning up everybody and making them look like they weren't on a blue screen stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what really blew me away, especially for it being a game that came out in 1995, was they did a couple of shots that had like 3D motion tracking. So you had your actors on the blue screen set, and then the camera is moving around in 3D space inside this fake 3D environment, but the actors are also being motion tracked into it. Which I'm like, that's, even today, like, I mean, for me personally, like, for my, amateur video expertise, I guess, like, that's a really hard effect to pull off and to make it look convincing. So the fact that they were able to do that in 1995 with the technology they had at the time, I was really impressed with.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did it all by hand, though.
Oh yeah, I could see them doing it all by hand.
Probably where one of the millions went.
Yeah, they actually did hire. I want to say it's Industrial Light and Magic, but I need to confirm that. They hired a professional effects studio to help them with all the effects. No, it wasn't Industrial Light and Magic, but yeah, they hired professionals to do all the blue screen work and all that stuff.
I find that slightly ridiculous.
So yeah, I mean, technologically, it's still really impressive. It was definitely like a huge achievement when you consider like the sheer amount of filming that it must have taken, and the amount of like
there's so many just hours and hours of random footage that don't actually contribute to like the core skeleton of the game.
I guess that's true. Not every movie has. They have to film a lot of extra stuff.
There's a lot of extraneous stuff in there, and it was strange in one way, but also kind of impressive in another.
Yeah. Like, yeah. See, I don't know how I feel about this, because I get what they were going for, was they wanted you to feel like you were immersed in the location and, like, everything was interactive. Yeah. But at the same time, like, a lot of it felt really wasteful. So, like, for instance, there's this one particular bathroom where you can go inside.
This is the main. The main thing that I thought.
You can go inside, brush your hair, and put on some makeup.
Really?
Yeah, but it's like all of these things don't add anything to the game. They're just like things you can click on.
They're like 5 or 6 little things on the sink that don't really add anything. Or it's like they're all in all the bedrooms. There are all these drawers that have stuff in them, and you can look at it, but it doesn't do anything, and you can't pick it up or solve any puzzles with it.
Right.
So I didn't play this game because it's M-rated, and I'm not allowed to.
Wah, wah.
You're missing out, man.
It was great.
So knowing adventure games, we're going to click on everything. Isn't this like the worst thing ever? That click on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible adventure game design.
Yeah, design-wise, yeah, it's pretty poor. I'm sorry. So, yeah, on the off chance that somebody who is involved with Phantasmagoria is listening to this, or like Roberta Williams or something like that,
listening to her.
Hey, Williams.
She's the regular listener.
We have nothing but respect for you guys. It was a great effort, but we're gonna be honest here about what we thought of this game.
Yeah,
it's time to take the gloves off. So
time to get my rubber gloves.
Dissect.
Yeah,
this
I mean,
thing.
I didn't plan in advance how much I wanted to say before we go into the spoiler zone, because a lot of the things that I want to complain about are tied to specific.
Well, let's say as much as we can before.
Yeah. So, Anton, yeah, go. You're starting to talk about the puzzles.
Oh.
Or just the design of the game in general.
Yeah, it was just so this isn't really spoilers, but there's a skull on the bottom of the interface, and he is the hint keeper. And you hover your mouse over him, and instead of just being a sprite, he kind of nods at you like, yeah, you want to click me, don't you?
Like in a creepy way.
Yeah, well, not really. He just kind of wiggles around. So basically, the whole game, like there were puzzles in the first part of the game, and then the puzzles go away, and then it just becomes a game of find the random room in the house that the designers want you to go to next. You can wander over the entire house and go to town and go back from town and go everywhere.
So
without
so
like
you can't,
finding
there
the
are
one
multiple
thing.
houses that have nothing useful in them.
There's one big house, and then you can get in your car and drive into town.
Can you,
You
just
can
go
drive into Plastic Land.
Yeah, the town looks pretty terrible. The house looks not terrible. The house
Was fun. I was okay with the house, but like
the town looks
anytime
so bad.
anytime I had to go to Winnepampatunka or whatever that stupid town was called.
Hang on, I
it
have it
was
written
like,
down. I think.
Oh man, now I'm on Lego Island and Lego. It looked so
Nipawamset?
Nipawamset.
Nipawamset. I don't know.
I'm sure it's a real town. I'm sure it looks just as fake and plasticky.
Yes, exactly.
I
It's
really
real
want to visit
photographs.
it if it looks like.
Yeah, but once I got to this point and realized that the rest of the game was going to be like this, I just kind of got a little bit shameless and just started clicking on the hint keeper, and he would just tell me where I was supposed to go to start the next arbitrary event.
Right.
Also, with respect to the hint keeper, he doesn't give you hints. He is the
spoiler keeper.
He's the solve the puzzle keeper.
Yeah,
you click
so
him and he just tells
hint.
you what to. Well,
Yeah,
so sometimes he just tells you what to do, and sometimes he's mysterious about it. But if you click him again, he says the same thing and doesn't clarify.
Right.
He's just
The hints don't ever ramp up.
Go somewhere and talk to someone.
Right. The hints are either like beating you over the head, obvious to the point where you regret clicking on him, or they're so vague it's like that didn't help at all. But continuing to click on him doesn't help anything either.
So there's no tier of like hints.
During the final chapter of the game, there's even a part where I clicked on him and they didn't like have a voice clip for him. They just had text pop up.
Oh, that happened to me too. I was clicking on the hint keeper during the finale and it was just text.
Yeah, I think we probably
I got
clicked
a
on the
kick out of
same
that.
screen.
So what does he sound like? What's his voice?
He sounds like
I'm
this.
the hint keeper.
So do they explain why this random this?
It's probably like it was voiced by Bob the programmer.
No, okay,
who
so
worked down the hall.
I'm confused. What is the story of this game?
Okay. Oh, right. We didn't. Oh, yeah. Right. Sorry.
That's a good thing to explain.
Right. We meant. I tried to make this a tradition on the last episode, but I forgot. So, the story is in Phantasmagoria, you follow around this lovely married couple named Don and Adrian. Who've decided to.
I don't mean to interrupt, but was that lovely couple sarcastic or?
Well,
they're happily married at the beginning.
Yeah,
Okay,
even though
alright.
they aren't very believable as like human beings.
So
that aside,
Don is a photographer. Adrian is supposedly a novelist, but we never see her writing anything down. She owns a laptop, so we presume that she writes on it.
Mm-hmm.
So they decide, for whatever reason, that they're going to go live in a big spooky house up in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
because Don's a
typical,
photographer, right? And he's
Right.
wanting to take cool pictures, or so I gathered from the
Right.
intro.
Right. So yeah, he wants to take cool pictures of the surrounding plastic landscape in this bizarro world that they live in. And so they're living in the house, and then Adrian decides for whatever reason she's going to dismantle a fireplace for no logical reason. And then behind the fireplace, she finds this spooky book, and she lets out this green fart cloud.
Hey, this is getting into spoilers territory.
Well, this is the story. This is the
Okay.
story. This
I
is
know.
just chapter 1.
Okay.
This is the story.
All
So
right,
then
we don't-
the ghost goes off, and then it does spooky things. And frankly, if you've seen The Shining, you already know how this goes.
Yeah.
It's
If you-
essentially the same story as The Shining.
If you've been alive in this century,
It's-
you know how the story goes.
It's very stereotypical spooky house story. You're like
Right.
down to
you
the
know,
letter
couple goes
every,
to live in
every
spooky
trope.
house.
So back to my first question: why does this ordinary person have a skull that hints to things that she needs to do?
Yeah, Adrian just carries around this skull with her everywhere that tells her what to do next.
It's inside her head.
If someone ever made an actual Phantasmagoria movie, I would want them to include that as a plot element.
That would be funny.
She just keeps this talking skull with her that tells her what to do.
Do a tongue-in-cheek like adaptation of Phantasmagoria,
Yeah, do it like
manic, like Ubsy movies style. That would be
right,
wonderful.
like Evil Dead style.
Yeah.
Phantasmagoria. That can be our Halloween movie this year.
Okay, we'll film it like
Phantasmagoria suite.
Wow.
Can we make Phil be Adrian?
Yeah,
Okay.
Phil can be Phil needs to be the
all,
husband.
all
and
she needs
to be
is
the
like,
wife.
or all Phil needs is like an orange shirt and black sweatpants.
Right. I'll be
like, the
Don,
whole
and I'll go
costume.
around screaming about that drain cleaner.
Yes.
What?
It's
Is
great.
is
That's
there
the
a
whole
joke I'm
the
missing?
first like 3 to 4 chapters of the game. Every time you talk to him, he asks you to go get him drain cleaner.
What, even after you get him drain cleaner?
Then you get him drain
Yes,
cleaner, and he's like,
yes.
then he's
Okay,
like, thank
gosh,
you,
okay.
and
Yeah,
he locks
we're
himself
slipping
in the
into
closet
hey,
for the
we're sorry,
game.
we're slipping into spoiler
Ah,
zone.
right.
Okay, sorry guys.
Still spoil the puzzle.
So is there anything else you can tell me about the story other than she lets a
Well,
spooky fart ghost?
And
Yeah,
then
she
it makes
releases this
spooks
evil
happen.
spirit into the house, and you basically spend the rest of the game trying to fix it,
Okay.
more or less.
And you also dig into the history of the house and Mr. Spooks, who still live there.
Zoltan Karno is apparently his name. I was never clear on if his name was Karno or Karnavash.
That was confusing to me, also, because
'Cause they-
those
like,
names
they-
were both thrown around, and I was never clear who was what.
It's like
who.
they called him Zoltan and Karno and Karnavash, and it was just like.
Well, no, it's the Karnavash state.
Well,
Is his,
right,
is his
but-
name like Karno Zoltan or Zoltan Karno?
But is Karno an abbreviation, or in his full name is Karnavash?
Oh, maybe that. I
That
don't
was
know.
my impression.
It was strange.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know if I have any more generic thoughts to add to the game design, because I kind of felt the same way, that after a while, like, the story sort of peels apart, and you realize that all you have to do is you have to just go through each room and find the story advancing cutscene that you need to watch, and they stop even trying to give you
Although,
puzzles.
to give them credit, there were actually some like non-essential cutscenes that if you're like more studious about wandering around and clicking on things, that you can find.
Yeah,
Like-
right. Yeah, if you're more diligent about the game, like, there's a lot of stuff you can skip over, but I think that for what it's worth, it does enrich the story if you go find all these extra cutscenes. It does, you learn a little bit more about the characters, and the plot makes a little bit more sense. I will say, kind of going back into positive territory for a second, I did genuinely get creeped out a couple of times.
I did
will
too.
admit
It was
that this game did unnerve me. I mean, I think that in all the parts where it was supposed to unnerve me, it was sort of half and half. Like, there were some moments where I genuinely got creeped out by what was going on. And there were moments where they were trying to be really super creepy, and it was just like, whatever. So I don't know.
The music helped a lot too. Like the music was kind of MIDI, and so it was kind of weird. But
Right.
I actually grew to like it over the course of the game.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of fond of MIDI music in general. But
So let me
I
ask,
liked
is there an inventory to this game?
Yeah,
Yes.
you have 8 inventory slots, but you never have 8 items. So
Okay.
that's about the scale of it. We should put a warning, Lark's Vomit, before we go into the spoiler zone about contents of the M-rated contents.
Well, so we'll try to keep it as PG as possible. If there are kids listening to this, there's,
What
bad
are you
stuff.
doing?
There's
so many
bad
other
stuff
things
in
you
this
can do.
game. You shouldn't play this game.
Yeah.
Kids, go play StarCraft. Turn this podcast off and go play StarCraft.
Whoa.
So I guess, yeah, just be warned, I guess. Before we do that, I do want to say one other general thing about the game. I want to know what pool of actors they pulled from to find such one-dimensional,
I don't know.
cardboard, over-the-top stereotypes.
It was wonderful.
That
It was-
were the
Okay, now give me
the
some
most
examples.
obnoxious cast of characters you ever have laid eyes on.
Well, so we got the generic grocery store clerk, who's just kind of
Right.
gray-haired and got a mustache and glasses.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yep, buy some groceries from a store."
Yep, Mr. Briggs, the grocery store salesman.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just
Yeah,
made that name
then you
up, I don't
got,
know what his name is. Then you have the sleazy real estate agent guy, which was my personal favorite, just because he's
He was so over the top. He was wonderful.
so loudly over the top. It's like this.
He's chomping a big cigar. His hair is
Oh
slicked
my
back, he's got his
goodness,
feet
that
kicked up on
cigar.
the desk.
What does the real estate agent have to do with ghosts?
He sold them the spook house.
Oh. Does he know it's a spook house?
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Oh, man.
That's because he's sleazy.
Stone cold.
real estate agent.
Yeah, the real estate agent was so ridiculously over the top.
He was just kind of a hurdle character, though, to like add more people to the town because it was otherwise kind of deserted.
Well, you had all those NPCs that you couldn't talk to that were just background decorations.
See, yeah, when you
walked
mentioned
past.
that they hired 25 professional actors, I was like, where did they all go? And then I remembered there were like 20 people in the town who were just standing there, like throwing balls at a wall or like petting a dog.
Right.
Well,
Or,
or were the balls they're throwing like
they were
90s
they were
3D solid
no, they were
color?
they were actual like bouncy balls.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that the antique seller was okay. She was still kind of annoying, but she wasn't nearly as bad as like the real estate guy.
Mm-hmm. I didn't like her as
I
much
think-
though. Just her character. I mean,
You know, actually, on this scale of horrible, like Z movie actors that we're having to deal with, I think that Adrian was mercifully like the least annoying.
yeah,
person
that
on
is
screen.
true. I actually, in the way that you get attached to game characters, I
Right.
found her okay to get along with.
I mean, she's still kind of a doorknob when it comes to intelligence, but at least she wasn't annoying to have
Yeah.
to spend the whole game with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another question. Because it's a Sierra game, can you die?
Yes.
How often do you die?
Well, that's getting into spoilers.
Oh, well, is it?
Well, okay.
Yeah, let's save that discussion for later.
You can't die at the first of the game.
Right, it's very lopsided because you can pretty much not die for like 85% of the game, and then all of a sudden you're dying left and right really
But that's
quickly.
okay, because unlike most Sierra games, they give you a rewind button.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's handy.
That okay, yes, I will. That's another positive for them. In most Sierra games, they just leave you to flounder and hope that you saved it. And I was approaching the game that way because I had played Sierra games before, so I was saving like every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But they did actually give you a rewind button, which I really appreciated.
I did too.
Except in one instance where it broke.
No, yeah,
Oh.
it doesn't work. That's the problem.
It doesn't work.
On
Okay.
that note, how glitchy would you consider the game?
Well, the rewind button. Let's talk about this for a second.
So,
The rewind
yeah.
button, in pretty much during the final segment of the game, it was very hit or miss on whether or not it would take you back to the exact spot that you were at before. Sometimes it would take you back to the spot that the game thought you needed to be at because
Yeah.
you missed something important.
There was also a
In
time when it like just deleted an item out of my inventory.
Oh, yeah, it did that to me too. It didn't remember which inventory item.
Was it
that
an
had.
important item that you had to go back for?
Yes.
Well, in my case, it wasn't because they just kind of
In my case,
skipped
it
me
was.
past the part I needed it and skipped me to the next. Oh, and then it ate my save
I got
file.
stuck. I got stuck. Like they got rid of an item that I needed.
Aw.
That sounds terrible.
I'll try to come back to this later. But then what took the cake for me was one instance where I guess
where'd the cake go?
I hit the buttons too fast, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And then what happened was that it started playing the cutscenes, and then it never gave me an opportunity to, like, take control.
What?
Yeah, no, for real. I restarted the game, and then it just played cutscenes nonstop until I died.
Oh.
And what I had to end up doing was I had to, like, totally shut the game down and turn it back on, and then start over at the beginning of Chapter 7.
Oh, yeah.
Because it wouldn't let me. My save file was just completely broken.
No, it ate my save file too. It just went to a black screen and wouldn't respond to anything. I had to like Alt F4 the game, and when I reloaded
that
my
happened.
file,
That
it
also
happens.
happened to me.
This is sounding fairly glitchy.
So it is, but I like the last chapter pretty well, so I'm not very mad about it. And it was.
Well,
the end
I'm
of
not
the game.
asking about what you thought of the game. I'm just asking how glitchy
I mean, it
is.
was fairly glitchy, but it didn't really get me down too much because they let you create a save file at any point in the game, basically. So you can just create a new save file at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I wonder if that was
Yeah. You can even like when you first turn on the game for the first time, it lets you skip to any chapter. Which I think that might have been a product of the fact that the game was on 7 separate CDs, so they didn't have a good way of tracking
that makes sense.
where you were.
Is it like the PlayStation games where you have to flip the discs as you play
Well,
it?
thankfully, the good old games version of this fixed that, so it's all in one. The game data is all in one big chunk, so you don't have to switch CDs at the end of each chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Which I appreciated that they, kind of made it seamless. Yeah, I'm ready to do spoiler zone here.
Okay. Farewell, wimps.
Spoilers.
Okay, so
To be fair, who would actually care about spoilers for this game?
I don't know. Maybe
if people
if you
listen to it, but they haven't
glowing
actually played it and they're interested.
Right, you've listened to our glowing review so far, and you think, gee willikers, I'd like to go play this Phantasmagoria game.
I want to find out what happens to Dawn.
Dawn, my favorite character.
Who's Dawn? Which one's Dawn?
The
husband. Okay.
Oh,
Husbando.
I meant to mention this a minute ago, but I forgot. One other thing I liked about the game was just the fact that all the characters or all the actors are so bad, and like their motivations are so unnatural.
Right.
For portions of the game, I got a kind of a Twin Peaksy vibe, where it's in that uncanny valley of like not making any sense. It's like, why everyone acts so unnatural? It's just like, what?
So the bad
acting
it
contributes to the creepy a little bit.
It didn't work for me. I'm just gonna say the everybody acting unnatural didn't click for me in the delicious way that Twin Peaks does.
Not in the delicious way, but in a similar way, in an eyebrow-raising way.
It is very unnatural, just the way everybody's behaving. Like, even when people are quote unquote acting normal, it's just very bizarre
creepy
and unusual.
Yeah.
So I meant to mention this earlier when we were talking about characters, but I think we got distracted with something else. I gotta say, well, first of all, I'm gonna do best character, worst character.
Okay.
I'm just gonna lay it on the table right now. Best character in the game, Mike the phone guy.
Yeah, Mike.
Who is Mike?
Mike.
Rip in
Explain
peace
it for the viewers at home
Mike.
who haven't played this game.
So Mike is, for whatever reason, this phone guy shows up at your house about the middle of the game to install a phone in this creepy old house. And so he just kind of hangs out in your foyer for a part of the game, and then eventually Don shows up and yells at him and makes him leave. And then he comes back later to try a second time at installing the phone. He's just kind of there. You can talk to him, and he's like, "I'm installing the phone."
Does he have like a backstory, or like he's installing his phone?
He has
so his
such
wife,
a deep backstory.
He's like his wife is in the hospital and needs some money.
They have
totally.
They have a minor romantic moment. He's like, "Call me if you need help." Then he gets cut in half with an axe or something.
Okay, so we're in the spoiler zone, right?
Right.
So explain to me what happens in the story.
Okay,
after
rest of the story
creepy
summary.
toot ghost comes out.
Well, okay, so there's really not that much story between the beginning and the end. The game kind of takes the slow burn approach to like the extreme. It pretty much puts out the burn and like soaks the candle in water, and then like it keeps it submerged
for about about chapter 2 to like chapter 5.
Pretty much.
But they're all so chapter 1 is like an hour and a half or so. Then all the rest of the chapters are like 20 minutes maximum. It's
pretty
a little
much
silly.
Like a lot of the gameplay time in chapter 1 just comes from the fact that you're not familiar with the house yet and you're clicking on everything, trying to figure out what you need to do. Also, chapter 1 has actual puzzles in it, which you can't say for the rest of the game.
Oh, does the rest of the game have bad puzzles?
It has no puzzles. You just kind of wander around and click on things.
For the few puzzles, this was one of the most frustrating things to me, was the fact that the game had very few puzzles, and the puzzles that it did have, I could have got if I wasn't fighting with the interface so much. For instance, there's one part where you need to go down into the cellar, and you have a book of matches. So I sat there trying use book of matches on cellar door for so long, and then I eventually had to go get a hint, and it's like, oh, use matches on yourself. That's what you need to do.
So you're setting yourself on fire?
Yes. No, you use yourself to light the matches, but you go in the cellar. Was there anything important in the cellar at all?
There's a hammer in the cellar.
Okay. All right.
What do you need?
You need the hammer to get a random nail out of the barn.
Don't forget the scene where you have to knock down a wall, but you got to watch all 5 minutes of Adrian peeling the wall apart, one board at a time. It's beautiful.
Well, there's that where you have to crowbar the wall apart, and then there's where you have to peel away the fireplace, each at a time.
Yeah. Also, the fact that for that puzzle you have a giant fireplace poker, but you have to use a small letter opener from Zoltan's desk.
Why?
It's a hidden letter opener in a statue, and you have to open it on your Confuse interface.
Why?
And right-click it, and then the little knife comes out, and then you can saw your entire fireplace apart with a letter opener to let the heart go out.
This puzzle makes no sense, for one thing.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that one made me really mad.
Well, so it could have been worse.
It's like it doesn't reward you for thinking. It rewards you for randomly clicking on things and admiring their 3D inventory close-ups and spinning them around ad infinitum.
I mean, it's kind of like just exploring in a little bit. I mean, so it was dumb that you couldn't just use the fireplace poker, but I did appreciate that at least they had a little cutscene of her trying to use the fireplace poker and being like, "I guess that won't work," which clued me into the fact that I needed to do that, but I didn't have the item they wanted me to use. So it could have been worse.
They did do that a couple of times, and I did appreciate that they gave you a couple of wrong way cutscenes where you try to use the wrong item and it doesn't work. It's just the game needed more of those, I think.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have enough puzzles for it to become a problem. There
were a lot of times where I tried to do things that didn't make that made sense to me.
So
like
the part where
the door in the go ahead.
The door on the 3rd floor.
Yes, to get the key and the keyhole.
So I see key and keyhole. I have a newspaper and a fireplace poker. I'm like, I can do this. I've seen this in the movies. But you can't. And the newspaper never does anything, and then you give it to Harriet, and then she just takes it. And it's like, okay. So you don't ever get to use that, and instead you have to what do you end up poking it out with?
You use the random nail from the barn.
You have to just get a small nail and push it out, and then it goes to a close-up of the key on the floor, and you're like, I'll click on the key and pick it up because I can see it right there. And you click on it, and Adrian's kind of like, I can't get it. But you have to use the and you try to use the fireplace poker in the close-up screen, and she's like, that doesn't work. And you're like, okay, but you have to use the fireplace poker from not the close-up screen, and that's how you get the key. And that was the worst puzzle.
Oh, see, I didn't know you could do that. I solved the puzzle a totally different way.
Oh, really?
So here was my experience with this puzzle. I started off the same way, where I'm like, okay, there's a key in the keyhole. I've seen this in the movies, so I tried to use the newspaper on the door, and that doesn't work. I tried to use the fireplace poker on the keyhole. That doesn't work. So I'm just like, what the poop, you guys? So later I get the nail, and I realize because I've spent so much time on UHS hints at this point that I realized that I need to use the nail to get the key out. I do so, and I just assume that I don't need to use the newspaper at this point because I tried it once. And so the key falls out, it's under the door, and she tries to reach it, and she can't reach the key because it's on the other side of the door. So then at this point, if you use the newspaper on the door, she'll pull it out and kind of just hold it there and look down at the bottom of the door and then just shrug and think, why didn't I think of that before? And it made me laugh out loud because it was so stupid that there's just this Adrian, this dingbat who just stands there and is like,
dumb.
Man, I should have thought of that before. And so then I was like, Sierra! So I reloaded my file and used... So you're not supposed to click on the door, you're supposed to click on the little 10 pixels underneath the door to slide the newspaper under.
This sounds like the best thing ever.
At least there are multiple answers to the puzzle. That warms my heart a little bit.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of like the game despite all of its problems.
Really?
Yeah, it just in an endearing sort of, at least they tried sort of way.
Right.
It's like the M-rated material kind of saps a lot of that goodwill, but ignoring that, I kind of like it. They tried so hard.
So we somehow got to this point for Mike the Phone Guy. I was going to tell you my least favorite character.
Oh, yes.
You never explained what happened in the story, though.
Gosh, Alex,
we've gone too deep.
Trying to talk about the game.
I thought that's part of the game.
Okay, alright, so the rest of the story is Spoopy Fart Ghost possesses Don. Don gets grumpy for like 6 chapters, and while he gets grumpy,
he locks
wander
himself
around,
in his dark room.
and you find out about the past. And in the past, there was a spooky man named Zoltan, who was kind of a good magician. He was like, I know how to be a better magician, and he learned dark arts and dark farts, and he summoned the demon, and became evil, and he killed his wife in a violent...
He became the zombie.
With gruesome attack, and then he got married like 4 more times and kept killing wives, because he's possessed by a demon.
Well, why does the demon want to kill a bunch of
wives? But then on his final wife kill, he was not expect because her lover husbando, Gaston, was there, and then he impaled him with a metal pipe, and then Zoltan was deaded.
Okay.
Meanwhile, small child who was living in house but didn't get dead somehow, named Malcolm Worm Shadow, saw the spook fart ghost leave his dead body, and he sealed it away with magic book.
Because
So you released
little
this-
child
So you
know
released
such
the spook
things.
ghost after you saw your fireplace and half of the letter open. and then you wander around for 6 chapters, and Don gets grumpy at the phone guy. Then you find old man Malcolm Wormshadow, who is like 110 years old, in his house. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, there's a ghost."
He tells you an extremely long backstory.
And then he tells you how to save Don and seal away the ghost. So it's like, okay, cool. So then you start on the final chapter, and then let's see.
So Don goes bananas and starts chasing you around the house.
Starts chasing you around the house, and so this makes me think, oh, I know, I will get all the things and save Don. And it'll be like a Monkey Island 2-bit where you collect the items
Oh
as
gosh,
he chases you.
okay, but can we back up a bit before we get to the finale?
Well, no, let's finish the story and then we can get back to other things. So,
but I wanna...
so Don chases you about the house, frolicking all about, and then you find a magic spell book. Oh, and you find a snowman that you gave him when you were still smoochy.
Happy lovers.
So then he finally catches you at the end of the great chase, and he straps you into the chair of doom where Zoltan tried to kill Final Life, and he's like, "Now I will kill you." And then Adrian is like, "But look, Don, this cool snowman," and he gets so distracted that then she pulls the switch on the chair, and then he gets impaled. Don gets impaled.
She's
with
the
an
bad
axe.
guy.
She kills him in self-defense because he's been chasing you around for the last hour you've been playing this game. He keeps.
How's she kill her? How's she kill him?
So the way Final Life of Zoltan was gonna get dead.
Okay.
Zoltan built this spinny chair, and it spins around, and there's a big axe, like a pendulum axe, that swings overhead, and it gets lower and lower, then it blows up your face.
Okay, that's really convoluted.
It is. So instead, Adrian pulls the switch, and then Don gets blown up instead. So then, the fart ghost has digivolved into Angry Blue Horns Demon, and he chases you around the house, but then you have to
the most expensive demon ever animated.
He's the most expensive demon ever animated, so you borrow a door to block him for like 10,000 minutes, and while he's blocked, you do the magic incantation, and you watch Adrian translate Latin extremely slowly for 10 minutes, and then the demon is sealed away forever.
It sounds like the worst game ever.
So to do the final puzzle, you have to have a titanium cross.
Okay.
Also,
but you can miss
for the
it.
final, I just
Those
want
are
to point out, for the final puzzle, you basically ignore all of Malcolm's directions on the things he told you that you need.
None of that was important, and you can't save Don. I was like, I got the bad ending. I bet there's a good ending, but there's not a good ending.
You pretty much just kill Don every time. Also, Alex kind of alluded to this a minute ago, but I would just like to point out the fact that if you just do like a Cliff Notes version of the story, Adrian is the bad guy here. If you think about it,
she lets out the ghost, and then she
lets out the
Don.
ghost, and then the ghost possesses Don, and then she kills Don. So,
Don killed the cat.
How do we know that we weren't possessed by the demon?
Don killed the cat, and Don killed Mike, the phone guy. So he is the bad guy.
Oh, did Mike, the phone guy, die?
He got killed by Don because Don went went crazy. He killed a bunch. He went on a kill spree. So you have
Don goes crazy and he learns how to teleport and he jumps around and kills everybody in the game.
You don't know that you don't see him teleport, but he does. It's like you're wandering around the house running away from him, and suddenly he's in front of you, and then he kills you, and it's like restart, and then he's gone, and it's like okay. Also, you have wandering gypsies who move into your house.
Okay, all right. Yes, this is what I've been trying to get to for like the last half hour. I need to rant about this.
All right, I'm ready.
I was okay with Phantasmagoria up until chapter 3, and these two stupid gypsies show up. You have Harriet and her stupid red hat, and then you have Cyrus, the one-dimensional, retarded, I'm just the groundskeeper guy.
Yeah.
When they showed up, and it started playing this stupid little Sierra MIDI music, I wanted to chuck my computer out the window.
It was so beautiful. They were the best characters in the whole game.
These characters drove.
Even better than the groceryman.
Even better than the groceryman. Even better than the sleazy real estate agent. You have Harriet and Cyrus.
And Cyrus tries to kill your cat, but he's not very good at it, and then he gets dead.
I knew as soon as they introduced these characters that these were just going to be like
guys to get killed.
They're just going to be killing fodder for the big finale.
So you know that
it was just like I pretty much wanted
the seance. You had to have the cool green goo seance.
You had to have the green goo face that says "Watashi wa Zoltan."
That is the scene to watch in the Japanese version, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I hated the vagrants. They drove me crazy. I wanted them to die as soon as they showed up.
I was sad. So they wanted to have Don kill the vagrants in a gruesome way. So basically,
so Cyrus was relatively tame.
Yeah, Cyrus just kind of got killed.
He was just kind of hanging out the ceiling.
Yeah, he got ceilinged, and he fell down because he was suspended with something. And
I'm not really sure. At first, it looked like he had been impaled through the sewer grate, but then he like falls down in one piece.
So it's like he was suspended there. He's levitating. Is all I can figure out.
Right, but Harriet had probably the most gruesome death. Well,
no.
Not counting the wife flashbacks, I think Harriet had the most gruesome death in this.
I don't know. Don got killed pretty gruesomely. So basically,
then
Don scalped Harriet,
the two,
which amounts to they show Harriet with like brain makeup, and then they show Don wearing the wig from Harriet's costume.
It was so gloriously bad. It was just like he has a little bit of blood on him for having this like scalped hair on his head, and then it's like, then he cuts over to Harriet and she's wearing a brain hat.
So can I just say that Don
this happens in the midst. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Don went from being a kind of mediocre actor to becoming my favorite character in the game after he went crazy and starts laughing maniacally. Crazy Don was fun to watch. I enjoyed the last part of the game immensely.
I just want to point out, in addition to his ability to teleport, you'll notice during the final chapter of the game that Don has the ability to put on makeup and then immediately remove the makeup. He has the ability to scalp Harriet, put her hair on his head, and then seconds later have no trace of any blood on him. Be totally clean.
Yeah,
it's frankly quite amazing.
He's also really good at catching you when you try to hit him with hammers or glass shards or like anything ever.
Or crowbars. You can stab him with the crowbar though.
I did do that. Was that a crowbar? I thought that was a fireplace.
Sorry, no,
poker.
there's a fireplace poker.
Yeah, if you get in the closet, you can stab him with it, but it doesn't do
I liked that cutscene because he stabbed him with a poker, and his response is, "I thought you loved me."
It was great. I did enjoy the chase thing. That was cool.
See, yeah. The sad thing here, I was really bored with this game up until Chapter 7, and then I feel like Chapter 7 is when they ratchet it up to 11, and stuff starts hitting the fan, and then I started enjoying myself, because I'm like, oh man, things are going down now, I'm running around the house, this is cool.
At least some of the slow burn of the rest of the game pays off, because you do learn the layout of the house really well.
That's true, yeah. You get really familiar with where to run. It almost feels like they designed this finale and then worked backwards and tried to make the rest of the game around this really cool finale sequence. The problem with the finale sequence for me was not once you actually had to start solving puzzles while running around the house, that's when the coolness factor kind of wore off for me. When I realized that you start off in the dark room, right? And then you run away by throwing the drain cleaner in his face.
The drain cleaner you got.
What I didn't realize is that
exactly.
This spell book, it's Chekhov's drain cleaner, basically.
Well, I knew it was going to be used for something gruesome, because the grocery store man warns you very seriously about how dangerous this is. This is sulfuric acid. You know this is dangerous, right? Adrian's like, yeah, I guess.
If you go to the close up in your inventory, it's got a skull and crossbones on the drain cleaner.
So you know,
so you have to run all around the house.
Right, but you have to make your way back to the dark room eventually, which makes no sense to get a spell book.
That was a legitimately clever bit that you have to go back there, because I did not think about the fact that you'd have to go back.
I guess I was so frustrated by the time I had to go back and get the spell book that I didn't think that was very clever.
I
mean, last time I kept trying to run over to the podium inside the walled up chapel.
I heard that. They didn't let you go there though. They keep the camera.
Right, that was what was so frustrating to me. Was it's like the spell book? It's like it's not in the spot where you think it's going to be, but then you don't want to run back into the dark room because you think Don's just going to catch you as soon as you run into a dead end room.
All that to say, you can actually in Chapter 7 walk around and pick up all of the items you need before you go face down in the dark room. Like you can pick up the shard of glass, and you can go into the theater and go get the snowman, and then you can go into the dark room and just pick up the spell book and circumvent the entire thing.
So
without even triggering Don?
Yeah, I was watching a playthrough. They literally just did that.
So
You don't have to go through the creepy back rooms or go up and down the little elevator. You don't have to go into the crypt
I did
and
like
push the
those
little
elevators
statue
in the
and stuff.
back.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was one of the moments where I legitimately got creeped out because it had all those wacky, weird angles when you're making the elevator go up and down. I was like, oh man, something bad's about to happen, but then nothing happened.
It was pretty claustrophobic.
Right. The other time I legitimately got creeped out was once, I think it's chapter 2 or 3, you go up onto the 3rd floor and you can hear this baby crying.
Yeah, that was pretty creepy.
Did you think, what's that baby doing?
Right. But yeah, again, but that culminated in nothing. I was expecting like a jump scare or something creepy.
So,
But
what was,
like
who was the baby?
Zoltan killed Zoltan baby. He had
Let Zoltan kill Zoltan baby.
Because he was possessed by demon.
When did he kill a baby?
Okay, well, here's a question.
That was his first kill.
What was the demon's motivation in all of this?
He's being evil.
Wait. When did he kill a baby?
I don't think you get to see him kill baby because that's gruesome.
Wait, what? But when did it happen?
Was his wife pregnant when he killed her?
Somewhere they intimate that he killed the first wife's baby. I don't remember. I think Malcolm tells you that, maybe.
Oh,
but
okay.
So I need to get off on a tangent for a minute. The navigation to get around is sometimes terrible. Like, there's this one screen on the yard of the house that makes absolutely no sense the way all the arrows go.
Right.
And this kept me from... There are some optional rooms in the game that I never found just because the interface was so bad that I never found the arrows to go there. Like, you can go into the crypt, like, through the secret passageways of the house and go look at all the tombs of all the wives, and you see the baby tomb and all this stuff. And I never knew you could go back there, like, for the entire game. So when I went in there in Chapter 7, I was like, oh man, they unlocked the secret room for me. But then I was watching a playthrough and I was like, oh, you can actually go back there. And then there's some other room I missed entirely that I don't remember. Oh, no, the back room of the grocery store where you get the dog bone from.
Oh,
I could not find that room, and I had to look at hints, and I was like, what?
See, this is another instance of where, like, I ran into this by accident, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't realize I needed a dog bone. I was just trying everything. So basically, were those free? I just want to get this out of the way first.
Free soup bones.
Free soup bones. Okay, I didn't see that sign. I wander into the back of the general store, and I get this random dog bone. I think, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't see the sign that said free, so I tried to go up to the counter and pay for it because I've still got a little bit of money left, and then that doesn't work. And so then I'm like, well, I guess I'm straight up shoplifting this dog bone, and I just walk out of the store with it.
Excellent. I thought they had a big in this game. No, they had a big cheesy close-up that says "free soup bones" if you click on it.
See, I didn't see that for some reason.
Yeah, it's easy to miss things in this game.
See, is this a good game design principle or bad game design principle to have so much stuff so much optional story that you can like find if you're really diligent, but like if you're just playing the game straightforward, you're gonna miss all this stuff.
I like that. It rewards people who spend the time to explore things. It's like when they try things and it's like, it actually worked. The game designers foresaw this.
I feel like the issue with this game is just that they don't make...
Well, there's just a lot of padding.
Doesn't make... You don't want to explore it because it's so...
I enjoyed exploring it.
Well, it's because you're lame.
I did not enjoy... Like, once you realize the layout of the house and you sort of understand the mechanics of I just need to wander around and trigger certain cutscenes to move on with the story... Like, I didn't feel like I was being rewarded for exploring. It felt compulsory.
Well, no, that was dumb. But I mean, just like having stuff like the crypt that you can totally miss and not have it impact the game was cool.
I mean, yeah, that stuff is cool. Like, I get that it's building atmosphere, but I think that there needs to be a balance somewhere to where, like...
Well, yeah, you don't want to just have, like vast sections of the game that you can totally skip over, because it's like...
Right.
It needs to have, because that means it doesn't have like any purpose in like enriching the game if you can get along perfectly well without it.
Well, yeah. So, like for instance, like Zoltan killing a baby. Like I had no context that there was even a dead baby, except if it weren't for the like baby bubble cloud that was floating in the 3rd floor.
That was so weird.
Like, so like,
can you explain that to the viewers?
And here's another thing that bugs me is the fact that there was so much like throwaway stuff, like the bubble cloud that.
Explain that to the people who don't know.
So there's a nursery upstairs on the 3rd floor, and nothing. This is from the start of the game, so nothing weird has even happened yet. And you go to the third floor of the house, you go into the nursery. There's like a teddy bear, and its head falls off when you pick it up, and she's just like, "That's weird." And you go over to the crib, and there's this big floating spook cloud making baby sounds. She kind of touches it, and she's like, "That's a little strange." She doesn't.
She doesn't like go talk to Dawn about it or anything. She's just like, "Huh, that's weird."
So there's like a giant cloud in their house.
The spooky
There's
ghost cloud.
So why did they not look at their house before they bought it?
They bought it before they got there. And then
What?
There's a
Who
scene where
does
you get
that?
to go yell at the real estate agent. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to give you this key," and then you use the key to unlock more of the house.
Oh, it's terrible.
So, on one hand, I appreciate that they were throwing in red herrings to build an atmosphere and kind of generally creep you out, but I felt like more of it should have paid off to where, at the end, you're like, "Oh, that's what that was for." So, like the cloud in the crib, for instance, that had no like payoff.
Well, it has the payoff if you're like getting all the story stuff, I guess, because it's sort of it's a piece to the they don't spell out absolutely everything. Like,
what was the purpose of? Tell me, what was the purpose of the baby?
Well,
cloud?
it's just like part of the story, right? And then they don't tell you what happened. You just go piece it together by finding the baby cloud and finding the.
You see, I'm a big fan of telling a story without telling a story, but this doesn't sound like they did it very well.
See, I'm saying, so Anton, what you're saying is, for me to have known that Zoltan killed a baby, I would have had to go into the crypt and go look at the tombstone, right?
Well,
but see, I didn't even.
It's mentioned in some other part of the game, and I don't remember what it is. If there's like a locket, or if there's like a picture you look at, I don't remember. But he drowns the baby in the pond outside, and that's supposed to be like analogous to how Dawn kills the cat. It's like the first fatality.
See, I did see a cutscene where Adrian went and looked in the pond and saw a face.
And maybe that's what I was thinking.
That confused me because it didn't look like a face that, like it didn't look like any of the wives.
Yeah.
Was it supposed to be the baby?
I forgot about that. Probably, yeah, I think so.
Okay. See, that was totally lost on me. I didn't even realize that baby killing was going on here.
That's why it's M-rated, man.
No, so the M-rated stuff is bad. So there's a scene...
I know. I'm being sarcastic.
Okay. Yeah,
well, I felt like the wives dying cutscenes didn't.
They're so gruesome and over the top and just. I don't know.
I didn't feel like they added. I'm fine with horrifying things if you have a good reason for them being in the story. This just seemed like shock value to me.
Yeah, it was kind of over the top. They could have.
It's like
they're just showing off their special effects and makeup.
Right. It just seemed like
it was over the top.
I mean, yeah, it
like
did
the
make
thing
you
with
more
the funnel
creeped out, I guess.
And the brain.
The funnel scene.
That was the worst scene.
See, that was the only one.
What is the funnel scene?
So he kills one of his wives by strapping them to a table and putting a funnel in their mouths, and then suffocating them by stuffing like
internal organs
into the funnel.
Really?
And you get to watch it all.
What? Oh,
they don't cut away or anything. You watch this person choke to death by.
Then there's another person he kills by spinning their head around with an elaborate contraption 360 degrees.
And then another person gets an entire wine bottle shoved through their eye socket.
It's like the Joker thing, but with a wine bottle instead of a pencil.
Yeah, I thought of that too from The Dark Knight. It was like, want to see a pencil disappear?
Ta-da! That's how we can title this episode.
I mean, hey, he was a magician, so he's just trying to make the wine bottle disappear, and it didn't work.
Oh, how did the last one die? I don't even remember.
Somebody got choked with mulch.
Oh yeah, he stabbed her in the mouth with a trowel. That was the most ridiculous.
I thought she choked to death on mulch.
Oh, well, then he stuffs her full of mulch, and then you find her body wadded up in a pot. And it's like, that was weird.
Okay, does
and
that
then
work?
And then to react, I like how Adrian reacts to two of these visions, and she gets like really upset and distraught. But then like the other two, she's just like, whatever.
Oh,
it's like, yeah, that was kind of gruesome. The other thing,
at the start of chapter 4 is totally unnecessary. That was what bothered me the most.
See, okay, I actually felt the opposite way about this. I felt like, well, okay, yes, it was tasteless. Yes, it was unnecessary. But having it there, it did make me feel like you were getting a good grasp of Don losing his mind.
Yeah.
It had story purposes.
And it does have story purpose, and it kind of...
Right.
Characters actually doing character-y things, I guess. It was...
No, I mean, I don't think that it's a good thing to put into a game in general. I think that it was, not wholesome and not good, but...
It did have a purpose.
I'm just saying,
totally...
since it's there,
yeah,
since it's there and we have to deal with it, I think, yes, that did contribute to the story.
Okay,
I did feel
I think
like
that's fair.
It did make me feel like Adrian was more alone and in a bad situation because they included this scene.
That's
if
fair.
they just implied it or something, then I would have been like, man, whatever. Don's acting weird. But the fact that they had the whole thing, it made you feel very uncomfortable and very unnerved.
I got up and closed the blinds. I was like, I don't want the neighbors to see that I'm playing this unwholesome video game.
Maybe it was just the fact that I had heard so much about this scene.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that was going to be in there.
Or does this game have a reputation?
It was pretty infamous when it came out. It got kind of controversial. Like the entire country of Australia banned it.
I didn't know Australia. Are you allowed? I guess you're allowed to do anything if you're in a country.
Yep. Well, yeah, I think Australia is more sensitive about these things in general because I've heard of them banning other stuff too.
Right. But like I think Walmart didn't even carry the game or something. It was pretty controversial. But yeah. See, so I had read about this and I envisioned in my mind that it was a lot more offensive and like explicit than it was.
Okay.
So when I actually got to it, it was like, well, that was more tame than I expected.
Yeah.
Like it was still bad, but it was not as bad as I was expecting, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't know it was coming. Tears. Tee-hee-hee. I'm trying to think if I had anything else like of importance I want to take grump about. I even talked about Adrian pulling the boards off the wall. That was my favorite part of the game.
It went on. Anytime Adrian decided to do home improvement, it was like we had to see every single second of it. It's like Roberta Williams was like, we paid for these boards of wood. We're going to see Adrian take the whole wall apart.
This old house.
Yeah,
just in general, there's a lot. There's so many like scenes everywhere that I just got in the habit of skipping at all of them. And at least once I skipped something, at least twice I skipped something probably important. Because I was just in the habit, every time I'd go through a door, you'd watch like a 10-second cutscene of Adrian walking through the door, and then you see another 10-second cutscene of her coming out the other side. So I was just skipping constantly.
I kind of got in the habit of just like...
Let's see, I missed the cutscene where Cyrus pushes over a tree. And then I missed the cutscene where Harriet's like, we're out of here because Dawn's weird. Before she hits it. I missed that.
Oh my goodness, that stupid tarot card reading scene that went on and on and on.
I think I missed this. I don't think I got my tarot card yet.
You didn't get your tarot cards read?
Was it great?
Oh, it was like a half-hour segment of Harriet reading your fortune and it being so ominous and ooh, something bad is going to happen. And Adrian just like, well, that's weird.
I did like the little fortune-telling machine in the foyer. That was funny. I enjoyed that because it's like every chapter you go and poke it, and then it does it gives you a different fortune, dance, and it gives you a spooky fortune, and it gets more and more ominous as the game goes on. So that's always what I do at the start of each chapter. I want to see what it has to say.
It goes from being like you're going to have a rough weekend to being like you're a dog and you are going to have a rough weekend.
Well, so
it's like you're gonna die.
Like chapter 2, this fortune is like evil will walk again. And then by the end of the game, it's like, get out of the house, lady.
It's like, what are you doing?
The other thing I liked was checking the laptop, because every chapter that would cycle around and be a creepy message.
Explain to me who was sending her these encrypted emails that had the creepy messages in them.
I think it was ghosts. It wasn't supposed to be emails, it was just ghosts making strange text. There's all this garbly text, and it has like run away or
had
get
like
out
little
of the house, or
little bits of English
or watch out.
Okay, so since you were apparently picking up on all the nuances that I missed, can you explain to me why in the middle of the game you walk back into the foyer and there's all this party noise? It sounds like people are having a party in the house.
No, that was really creepy. I couldn't figure that out. I wonder if there wasn't something I missed, because I ran into the kitchen because I was like, I'm going to run away from the creepy noise. I don't want to die.
Right.
But then the music stopped.
Also, in Chapter 2, it was randomly playing, like, marching music, and I never understood that either. Like, when you go back into the foyer...
You can turn on the piano, and it plays a little
No,
song.
No. It wasn't the piano. It was, like, full-blown MIDI, like, marching music playing in the foyer, and Adrian's like, where's that music coming from?
Oh, yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Is there different music later?
There were two different instances of this. In Chapter 2, it just randomly plays marching music in the
that's the one I
foyer,
heard.
and then later on in the game, in one of the nighttime chapters, it's playing like this dinner time party sound, like you hear all these people chattering and it's playing like party music.
It's probably just
sounds so weird.
But it's like why?
I don't know, just for the spooks. I got spooked out by stuff like that. It was like because I did not, because I know this game is being kind of tasteless about things already, so I didn't trust them to like not have a random jump scares. So anytime I'd click on anything, or anything would be different from the way it was before, I'd just be like, oh, it's gonna jump scare me.
Well,
yeah.
See,
so
the thing is, I guess, like, in my mind, I was comparing this to The Shining because there's a lot of story similarities, and in fact, like, the whole thing with her hearing ghostly noises of a party that was like ripped directly out of The Shining. And so in The Shining, all this stuff gets explained. And you understand what the context is behind all these weird ghostly things. I guess I was waiting for the other shoe to fall with a lot of this stuff, so it's like, why were there party noises? What was the point of the baby bubble cloud? You know? And then it didn't... Like, I thought the ending was satisfying-ish for what it was, but it's like it felt like they left a lot of plot threads hanging that didn't get explained. Yeah. And I think that was partially because I was missing cutscenes.
I miss cutscenes too.
So fun
fact. There's a random rose you can pick up on the front lawn at the end of the game, and you can watch Gaston and what's her face make out in the gazebo.
Oh, I actually did get that cutscene.
I didn't get that one.
Was it hot?
I don't know. Not really. There's also a cutscene you can see where Gaston gets.
Like you're actually judging whether or not.
I didn't see it. I saw that it existed. There's also a cutscene in one of the upstairs rooms where Gaston is sitting in a chair, and then you can see the secret wall panel open up behind him, and Zoltan jumps out and grabs him and pulls him into the wall.
I'm trying to remember if I saw that or not.
It's like his face is all burned and he's all bandaged up, so he looks creepy already. So that was a pretty good cutscene. I like that one.
Yeah, I think I did see that.
I was happy that all the mirrors paid off, because there's so many mirrors in the house, and every time you click on one, you get like a 30-second cutscene of Adrian looking in the mirror. I was like, but that kind of paid off, because you get to look at the scoop show.
Listen, here's something else that never paid off. That electric chair. In room.
No,
what was that for?
That was the funnel chair.
Oh, so then why did it shock her?
Well, because it was also his electric chair. There's some... Where was that? No, yeah, if you're reading his magic show flyer in the downstairs room, it talks about his super electric chair or something.
Okay. I guess I just wasn't paying enough attention to what was going on.
Can we talk about that hallway that goes from the foyer into that room with the fireplace? That was one of my favorite rooms in the game, because it had all these curtains, and it was like, what is this hallway? Why does it have so many curtains? It was like, is something going to jump out and get me? That's so weird. Or the fact their foyer has all these giant evil-looking statues, and they just kind of move in.
Right.
And don't, like...
They don't question
They don't think it's weird.
So, okay, was there any point to the absinthe in the bar in the foyer?
There's no point to the absinthe, as far as I know, or to the red ring in Zoltan's cabinet, or the handcuffs in the cellar, like in the secret cellar room.
Okay,
or that
this is the kind of stuff This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's lots of random stuff that's like, this is probably important for a puzzle, but nope, it's
right,
not.
And then it just never pays off.
It feels like they had a bigger game in mind, and then they ran out of money. And they just kind of shifted.
They ran out of CD-ROMs.
Like, this is why you don't base your entire game budget on a dumb gimmick.
Basically, the way Chapter 7 was structured, it felt like there should have been, like, if you knew what you were doing, you can get all the items to do Malcolm's magic formula and save Dawn.
Right.
But they just didn't make the cut. Is what it felt like. Because it feels like a bad ending.
I was really
you seal
confused.
away the demon, and then all you get is kind of Adrian walking away from the house looking scarred.
Right. Yeah, let's talk about the ending. That was... after the demon goes away, I was just like, that's it. She just
Yeah.
wanders away from the house.
It was,
And then we
yeah.
had to go to the totally unwarranted credits music.
Mhm.
It was like the Journey ripoff, Don't Stop Believin'. Don't stop believing.
That's really unfitting for a horror movie.
It was so out of place, and I was just like, you did not earn this song. For whatever this song is worth, this is not appropriate.
Yeah.
Get this out of my face.
It felt like they had fun while they were filming it, though.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's
so,
the other thing.
And how could
if you
not?
if you
with
go
something
if
so
you go look
cheesy?
up interviews with the cast from Phantasmagoria, the guy who plays Don is constantly complaining about whoever was directing him telling him that his arm was like going through the wall, or like or like his like he's constantly complaining about the blue screen limitations, about how like, oh, your arm's in the living room now, or stuff like that.
I'm impressed they could tell like while they were filming.
Right. Well, like, going back to the technology side of this, like, if you watch some of their behind-the-scenes videos, it's pretty impressive, like, how much effort they put into, like, making sure that, like, there was, like, blue, like, blocky furniture where the eventual computer models were going to go, and they actually had, like, a live feed going so that they could see the actors matted onto the computer background on a TV monitor while they were filming.
That's cool.
Which was just like, wow.
Yeah. I don't know, so there were parts that bugged me, but I kind of liked it overall. Like, if you get past the M-rated stuff, I thought it was...
Well, if you were to give it a letter rating, what would you give this game?
I don't know, I would give it probably a C. I guess. It wasn't an absolutely abysmal experience. Because it wasn't hard enough for me to get angry at it. So it was like watching a cheesy horror movie.
Yeah. I'm going to rate this game a D because
For dumb.
I agree that it wasn't very hard, but like where I did run into puzzles, it felt like I was banging my head against a wall.
Yeah,
there were very few satisfactory puzzles where it's like, I'm glad I solved that. Most of the time it was just like,
for me, that's every adventure game. I'm never glad I solved anything.
The nail puzzle is really dumb.
Right, the nail puzzle, the thing with the matches, like the whole ending sequence where you had to run around the house and pick up things and hope that Dawn didn't like trap you. It's just like there were a lot of frustrating moments for me. The acting was really bad.
Aww.
I just felt dirty after playing this game. It was just like very. But at the end when I turned it off, it just was very unsatisfying. Like,
yeah, that's true.
No, it was.
You just felt like you could have done a lot better things.
Like I needed to go take a shower or something. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, I am impressed with like what it was as a technological achievement. Like to me that's still impressive what they were able to pull off in 1995. Like the scope of it is impressive, and what the amount of work they put into it is impressive.
Yeah.
The execution just didn't really work for me.
So it's a dumb game, but maybe enjoyable in a weird way.
It's like I don't know.
If you're like in an I don't care mode, I was kind of in an I don't care mode where I didn't care about hints, and I just hinted everything.
Yeah, I think maybe it's because I was trying to actually play and enjoy the game. It's sort of like. If you sat down to actually try and enjoy Plan 9 from Outer Space or Troll 2, you're like you're just going to get frustrated. But if you kind of kick back and say, this is really stupid, I'm just going to laugh at this, then, you'll get a lot more mileage out of it, I guess.
That's probably, that seems about right. I did enjoy that after you release the blue demon, that he will come and rip your face in half. That was fun.
Oh, yes. That was my favorite death sequence. Just because it's so ridiculous.
Does it look like your face is getting ripped in half?
They built a fake Adrian face with like blood shooting out and everything, just so they could like pull it apart with like invisible string, and then animated demon hands ripping her face in half.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting, but satisfyingly so. Like it was just like schlock horror kind of stuff, where it was like it was obvious that it was fake, and it was really over the top. Also, I mean. This sounds really bad to say this, but it was like Adrian's head getting sliced open by the machine. I also was like, that's really stupid and gross. I like that. Like,
is it satisfying to have this dumb character you had to play all this time finally get killed or something?
Well, I don't know. It was a little cathartic because nothing happens for 6 chapters, and then finally something really violent and gross happens.
And you're like, well, about time.
I kind of,
I don't know.
I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't like it because it was kind of gross, but it was also it wasn't realistic enough for me to really be grossed
like
out by it.
I was
just
genuinely
kinda laughed.
repulsed by all the wife flashbacks, but like anytime Adrian got killed, it was just like, that looks really dumb. This is funny. Yeah. So
it sounds like the worst game ever, but that's just from what I'm hearing about it right now.
We'll
like
put that in the description. This sounds like the worst game ever, Alex.
I'm just being honest. You're describing how it's like
pretty
it takes
bad.
a long time. It's really gross, and how it's like
Alex.
like the only fun thing about the grossness is that finally something's happening, which is not a good thing. You never want in like a game. You never want it to be like, I was happy with this dumb thing because finally something was happening. Like, that's not how you play games.
Still better than Leisure Suit Larry.
When are we gonna review that?
No.
In 2064.
Yeah, okay.
Right after we do Read Only Memory.
Yes.
Whatever that other game was called.
Yeah, Read Only Memory.
I don't really have anything else to say about Phantasmagoria.
No, I've had my say.
I'm pretty much done ranting.
Resounding.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else to ask about it.
Yeah. There's not too much more to say.
I'm not really. I was morbidly curious about this game going into it. But now that it's done, I can say, well, that was a thing. I have no interest in playing the sequel.
Oh, we gotta play it next Halloween.
I googled the sequel. It looks like it's even more like controversial shock value stuff than the first game.
Yeah, right. It kind of actually. I read the synopsis of the plot for the second game, and it kind of makes the first game sound tasteful.
That's not a good thing.
It's titled A Puzzle of Flesh, so you kind of know what you're getting
and
into.
then the box art is this guy ripping his chest open, and there's all this like glowing flesh coming out of like the gaping hole in his body.
So fun times.
That sounds great. So, let's play that.
No,
because next month we've got another game on the roster to play.
Huh?
We've got to play the Nintendo DS Classic, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors.
Oh my goodness!
And we're going to play this in honor of it being our 9th episode of Threepcast.
Yes,
and in honor of Phil for being awesome.
Yeah, we can bring Phil back to consult on his most favorite game.
He actually likes it a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. I have played it.
I thought you hated it.
Well, so just as a preview. For next episode.
It's not spoiled.
It is a game that you will love, and then you will hate it a lot, and then you will love it.
After you're done hating it.
After you're done hating it, like you don't stop hating it until like you finish the game, and then a couple of weeks pass, but then you like it again. Then you make other people play it, and this is how this game has become known.
So, I think I'm the only one in the group who hasn't played this game. Is that right?
Alex hasn't played it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just heard people rant about it, so I have a general idea of what I'm getting into.
Right. So yeah, this is going to be a new one for me. I've never heard of this game before Phil brought it up. I'd played similar games on the DS that were kind of like anime, interactive novel, adventure games, but I haven't played this one, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with hating it for a while if I do actually come back to liking it, because that didn't happen for me for Phantasmagoria.
Okay. That's fair. Also, if you're planning to play, or if you listeners are planning to play it before the next episode, there is a spoiler-free flowchart existing to help you get all the endings, which is kind of a pain to do normally.
Right, I may have to resort to that if I can't figure it out myself.
Just FYI, fun facts. But it's a pretty good game. Phil and I liked it.
You'll like it too.
Yeah, it's also M-rated, but it's mostly for swears. There's kind of blood. but it's not it's not as in your face. Well, so it's pretty in your face, but it does it in a more tasteful way than Phantasmagoria. For whatever that's worth.
Right. So, if you out there listening have also played 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, and you want to comment on it, feel free to send in some feedback, either written or MP3, to podcast@ridgewayfilms.com, and we will regurgitate your thoughts on the next episode.
Then we'll send you our eternal gratitude.
Our eternal gratitude. Your name will live on in infamy. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. One more thing before we go. Alex.
Yeah.
Do you remember several episodes ago that you said, or Anton said, somebody said that we needed to add a new segment called Adjectives with Alex, where you just sit there and read adjectives.
Getting myself into?
Yeah.
Well, you were going to read us some adjectives.
Oh no.
Yay.
And the goal here...
Where am I reading them from?
I'm going to send them to you.
Okay.
You need to see how many adjectives you can read in 60 seconds. Are you ready?
You gotta give me a second. Hold on.
How many of these can you get through?
Alright, tell me when.
I'm getting to Skype. Okay. What is this?
You ready?
I can't see them all.
You can
scroll. Just scroll down.
I mean, I know, but even after I scroll down, I can't see them all.
Scroll, my man.
Well, they only go that. They're only go. You should scramble these. Somehow.
Yeah, they're alphabetized. That's boring.
Gosh, that's gonna take too much time to scramble.
Alright, fine. I'll scramble it myself.
Okay, see how many you can get in 60 seconds. Ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Admirable, brisk, broken, bronze, coordinated, corrupt, costly, courageous, crafty, crazy, creamy, creative, dim-witted, disloyal, dismal, embellished, eminent, emotional, empty, enchanted, uncharted, flippant, flimsy, enormous, forced, bright, brave, adored, affectionate, fond, foolhardy, enlightened, dim. Hold on. Actual, active, adept, aged.
Okay, done.
Yay!
That was the best minute I've ever spent.
I lost count because the audio was kind of cutting out. It was around 37, I think.
Well, see, I wasn't sure if I was reading ones I've already read. That doesn't count.
Oh man, we'll have to send it into the review board.
Right.
For Alex's adjectives.
Yes. So, anyway,
that was the greatest.
That was quite delightful.
Quite delightful. A nice little palate cleanser after Phantasmagoria. So yeah, we will see you guys next month with 999 for our 9th episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. So don't play Phantasmagoria is the message.
That's the message here.
Don't play it, it's kind of dumb.
So yes. So we will see you guys next time. I'm Elliott.
I'm Anton.
I'm Alex.
And this was Threepcast.
Stay frosty, friends. Remember,
frosty.
Your life being given for Mother Russia is the greatest achievement.
We had a saying on episode 1 that Phil would always say.
What?
Yeah, we had this conversation last time.
Keep Threepin or something.
Keep adventuring.
Keep it Threepin, friends.
Bye.
Bye.
In the heat of the night, while we'd hold each
I bet that was like the best podcast you've ever listened to.
It's certainly the longest one yet.
Really?
We had a lot to say, a lot to complain
we're
about.
We're at an hour 45 minutes.
Yay!
Oh gosh.
Complaining is the best.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Did
Oh gosh.
you guys stop recording?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh.